Hey, it's Scott McKinstry here with Marketing with Story, with a little lesson about how stories can sell. Today we're going to talk about a storytelling technique you can use to deliver facts. Sometimes you need to talk about a lot of facts in your sales letters without boring your audience, without having them checking out and clicking away. All right, so the other day I was thumbing through a copy of Scientific American, this particular one here in January 2025, when I discovered an article called "The Next Viral Plague." It's about bats. Well, that title is a grabber, and the article started strong by telling a story. We saw Australian scientists in a forest at dawn collecting bat poop. Always fun. But pretty soon the article waded into some gnarly fact-choke waters. Facts like these. Out of 6,400 living mammalian species, bats are the only species that can fly. The resting heartbeat of bats is around 200 to 400 beats per minute. When they fly, their heart rate speeds up to 1,100 beats per minute. Some species of bats are missing several genes that encode for immune system proteins. Now, I like science, and I like learning. That's why I get Scientific American, but biology has never been my first choice for reading material. But in this case, I was eager to read these facts. I found them interesting. I even wanted to memorize some of them. Facts about like how many mammal species there are, and then I forgot it. But anyways, why was I interested in these facts? Because the writer of the article, one Jane Chu, opened her high fact section with a powerful curiosity framing device that shall henceforth be known as the puzzle pitch. Why that name? Well, puzzle, because it presents a puzzle, and pitch, because its job is to sell the reader on reading more. And not just grudgingly, but joyfully. Yes, a joyful journey through a detailed, dense jungle. That's our mission. So let's listen. Here's how Miss Chu deploys the puzzle pitch. I'm going to quote from the article. These discoveries, which were mentioned earlier, posed a conundrum. Nipah, Hendra, and other viruses can make humans and other animals sick, often with devastating consequences. Yet bats seem to tolerate them well. Wang, a scientist also mentioned earlier, wanted to understand why. He was shocked when he realized how little was known. Quote, "It was like stepping into a void," Wang says. So that was, again, from the January 2025 issue of Scientific American by Jane Chu, the article "The Next Viral Plague." Okay. Holy bat poop! We've got a mystery on our hands. Bats somehow aren't getting sick like every other mammal exposed to these dangerous viruses. Why on earth not? At that point, I was primed to learn more about bats. How are they different from other mammals? What makes them so special? Why aren't they getting sick? And of course, the million-dollar question behind all of these, how can we use this knowledge to protect us humans from the next viral plague? In other words, I gotta have more bat facts, which is exactly what happens next in the article. I get my fix. We read about the quest to discover this puzzle, which naturally includes a bunch of facts about our furry flying distant cousins, some of which I mentioned earlier in this video. So let's rewind and take a look how Miss Chu employs the puzzle pitch. First, she tells us point blank that the game is afoot. Quote, "These discoveries posed a conundrum," end quote. She states that there is a puzzle plain as day. Kind of clues us in. But of course, we don't just tell, we also show. So second, she tells us what the puzzle is. Bats don't get sick from viruses like other mammals do. And third, she uses another storytelling trick. She intensifies the puzzle by showing us the bamboozlement of an infectious disease expert. That quote, "It was like stepping into a void." A quick sidebar about experts in breakthrough advertising. This is my prize copy here. Eugene Schwartz tells us, "There is nothing so astounding as the astonishment of experts." And he was talking about experts astounded by a product. I think his example was something about the thousands or hundreds of blooms on a rose bush that was being pitched. But the amazement of an expert at a puzzle, a mystery, works equally well here. So, why not give the puzzle pitch a try? You can use this storytelling technique when you need to impart a bunch of facts about your prospect or their problem or your product, anything related to your sales argument. Of course, there must actually be a puzzle, which is where all those hours of research pay off. Now, just how much you need to tell and whether you even need to use the puzzle pitch depends on your audience, as always, and how much they are already interested in your subject. For example, if your reader is a bat nut, then even a dry, dusty almanac of 10,001 little-known bat factoids for fun and pleasure will be as scintillating to him as the National Enquirer is to someone obsessed with Britain's royal family. The more your prospect is naturally interested, the less work you have to do to sell that interest. But in many cases, say for example in health and wellness, where I focus on as a direct response copywriter, your audience probably isn't tuning into your sales video to get an advanced degree in biochemistry. They mostly just want a solution to their pressing concern. Lectures, no thank you. That's fair enough. But it's your job to show why your solution is so darn cool and effective. And that usually requires some facts. You can give those facts a warmer welcome by employing the puzzle pitch. So to recap, here are the 4 steps. Number 1, state that there is a puzzle, a conundrum, a mystery, a whodunit, a paradox, an enigma, a blasted bamboozlement. 2, state the puzzle succinctly. Here's the paradox. 3, intensify it, say by showing the exasperation of experts. And finally, 4, narrate the quest to solve the puzzle with the facts as the natural and desired results of that quest. All right, stay storied. I'll see you next time.